I usually only do one video a week, so 3 in 1 week. I've been locked in this room for a long time. Send help. Here we are back with the final video in the Zoom Essentials series. This one is going to be hard pressed to beat the original H6, as I have seen it with prices as low as $180, which weirdly is cheaper than the $250 for the H5. But let's pretend we didn't see that for a second, and we can circle around to that in a bit. This is the Zoom H6 Essential. Of course, much like the H4, very much borrowing the previous design from the H6 Classic, but with an upgraded screen and UI, though I think that might come down to preference for some. I personally really enjoyed the H6's screen, so it is at least a lateral move. But again, I will reiterate my concerns from the H4 video. This is an upgrade from previous H series of products, but it still seems rather antiquated for screen style. It's not even touchscreen. FY, the king of Zoom screens is totally the H8. Now, the only real big difference between this and the H4 Essential, though, aside from the extra inputs, is that we're now seeing those swappable modules, and the modules are a bit bigger. Frustratingly, though, these swappable capsules are not backwards compatible with any of the previous models, which they're passing off as being due to the 32-bit float. And in case you can't tell, I'm mildly skeptical of that. Regardless, this has been one of the most special things about Zoom recorders like the H5 and H6, and it only got better with the H8. Those initial swappable capsules were amazing. Swappable shotgun mic, so cool. Stereo shotgun mic, super cool. Mid-side mic, I mean, it was just such an amazing way to expand on such a legendary series of units. And with the H8, it only got better with the second lineup, which included the VRH8 ambisonic VR mic capsule. Now, though, we seem to be limited to just the three options. XY like this one, you've got shotgun and an expansion module for 2 extra inputs. Anyways, this unit doesn't really offer anything more than the H4 beyond those two things. So this is literally for the creative that needs those extra inputs and perhaps the option of another capsule. Otherwise, though, nothing much extra under the hood. Same setup on the screen and menus. As I said in the previous video for the H4 Essential, they are an upgrade, but still a bit clunky. Again, though, this is a very much stripped down version for features compared to the original H6. So the menus, comparatively, are rather sparse. Now, I think the larger capsules on this do sound better than the H4 Essential's smaller options, though I haven't done any super intense side-by-side comparisons, so I will let you be the judge of that. That means we're going over the new H4 Essential. This is the H6 Essential. And if you missed the first entry into this series with the Zoom H1 Essential, bigger capsules. That's my stomach rumbling. Now, this is the Zoom H4 Essential. These are the bigger capsules. Now, the handling noise is once again apparent on this, but again, no worse than the H4 Essential from yesterday. As for the feel, it is a little unwieldy, especially as you plug more stuff into it. But again, the original H6 was no different. It was more of a tabletop device than it was a true handheld. And again, we have that EIN sitting at neg 120, exactly like the original H6, which was released 11 years ago. Now, I know I'm beating this to death, but come on. Now, this thing is also, of course, rocking that 32-bit float, so I guess for the sake of consistency, let's do another ASMR test if you weren't grossed out by the first two. Okay, now it's time for ASMR story time with Aiden. This is the Zoom H6, and as you can hear, it might sound different than the Zoom H4. I'm not exactly sure if it sounds better or worse than the H4. I'm going to find out in post-production. But one thing I do have to say about this is the 32-bit float does actually work, because despite all of the heightened noise that you get when you gain up, the sound quality of the whisper is on point. So yeah, the upgraded capsules do give this a bit of an edge over the H4 Essential. There's one thing I forgot to mention in the last video though, but it is a bit of a feature, but also a bit of a sore spot for me. This thing and the H4 Essentials have an add-on feature for Bluetooth, and I really mean the add-on thing. You can actually control and monitor this thing from your phone if you go in and buy the Bluetooth dongle. Again, guys, it's 2024. It's a really nice feature that should just be built into the unit, and it costs you an extra 40 bucks. Anyways, I'm a bit torn on this unit, but before we get to whether or not this might be worth your money, let's talk about something. Why does this Essential series exist? As I see more and more of it, I think I nailed it in the last video. I personally believe this is a precursor launch for a Pro version later this year. Now, I'm guessing their sales on the older units have ground to a halt, which I think is pretty obvious when you see that price on the original H6. I mean, 180 bucks for a really cool piece of gear and a feature-packed handheld is amazing. So I think Zoom just decided to release the shell of what those units were and are planning on updating their flagship models later, which, not to be mean, but comparatively should look pretty good against these. So I think these are going to become the entry level for a whole new lineup, and the old ones are going to be retired, which you gotta say, it's impressive they've lasted this long. Kind of a testament to what they were, if you ask me. But does that cheapen what these are? I don't think so. But I'm sad they didn't see fit to actually outfit these with gear that isn't literally 11 years old. Now, with all of that knowledge, this brings us around to, should you buy this, or better said, should you buy into this, the Essential series of recorders? Personally, I'm going to say wait. It's one of two things that are going to happen in the future. Either Zoom is going to do what I predict they will with a Pro series, or another company is going to look at all the good things Zoom did here, like the accessibility options for the visually impaired, the 32-bit float, and they're going to crush Zoom out of their own supremacy with a piece of gear that just rocks with better preamps. And that's my real fear here. No other companies that I know of are still releasing products with self-noise this high. And up till this point, Zoom has been the go-to for anyone needing a handheld recorder in the field for a decent price. So my advice? Either hold on to see what this possible Pro version is going to be, or hold out to see what the obvious competition does to one-up Zoom. And then you can make the decision. If you need one now, though, that Zoom H6 for 180 bucks looks rather tasty if you ask me. And I don't think 32-bit float is worth all that other functionality that you got out of that. So cheers, guys. Thank you for watching this series, and I will see you in the next video.